Hey, everybody. Welcome to everyone who's joining the webinar right now. Would love to hear, Bodhi, good to see you. Would love to hear, where's everyone watching the webinar from today? You can put the answer in chat for those who want to share. Well, thank you everyone for being early. We're going to give everyone a few more minutes. And like we said, and however you discovered the event, we're going to be efficient today. It's going to feel like a TikTokification of a webinar, 18 minutes. Some really high level content for everyone to take away from the dialogue with just really engaging info to implement AI at your organization.
I see Bodhi mentioned that chat shows that it's disabled. Thank you.
I
We'll
see
check into
that from Jenna just sent me a message as well.
I think if you can put any questions in the future, just place them right into the Q&A.
Yeah,
rather
let's do
than
the
in chat.
Q&A. Thanks for letting us know, Bodhi. Bodhi, while you're at it, do you want to share with us what inspired you to join today?
I think we had to
I
give him
inspired
permission
you.
to talk.
Awesome. Well, I see a few more people coming in. Like I said, we're going to let some of the stragglers continue to make their way into the webinar. Tommy, great to see you. Welcome to the webinar. Tommy, what inspired you to join today? If you want to put in the Q&A section. First, we'll start on like 30 seconds. All right, everyone, we are going to get moving on the webinar. So first off, I just want to thank you for everyone who is here and attending live with us. We're going to be sending a replay out as well. So thank you as well if you're joining via the replay a few days or a few hours later. And just to start off, I wanted to introduce myself and No Typical Moments. My name is Andrew. I'm the CEO and founder of No Typical Moments, and we support online education companies with online customer acquisition. Something that's been on our mind for the last 6 months is what our place in Web3 is going to be. And like so many people everywhere across the entire world, we experimented with ChatGPT. We saw immediate benefits in our life, and we thought, as an organization, how can we start to roll this out to our clients? Hence this being our webinar to really just share some information of what we've been doing as an organization personally and professionally, and how anyone watching this can have some very actionable takeaways. And what we're going to be doing today is going through the utilization of ChatGPT for drip email campaigns. We're then going to be going into a discussion of the utilization of ChatGPT and Midjourney for social ads. I think you're going to be really impressed with what Chris came up with. We were going through her photos that she developed through AI earlier today, and it looks exactly like a real human being. It's pretty astonishing. And then lastly, we're going to be sharing with you all an AI pilot program we're going to be launching as an organization for those who are interested. But before we dive into our first topic with Chris, I want to share a quick story on why I think AI is so important to master. So about 2 months ago, I was experimenting with ChatGPT, and I was trying to impress my fiance, Laura. She's a chemical engineer. She works at a big organization. really intelligent. She has no idea what I do for a living in digital marketing. And I thought ChatGPT could be a way to provide some tangible evidence that I'm just as smart as her. So I came home from work and I said, hey, Laura, tell me some type of science equation. I'm going to put it in ChatGPT and let's see what it comes up with. So I answered the question Laura wanted to be shown. It came back and she was reading through it and was like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's about 90% accurate, but there's a few things in there that I would actually argue with. So I decided to take it up a notch and I said, okay, I'm going to tell ChatGPT to give us a story of the history of your organization in 800 words with the tone of Barack Obama. So put it in there. ChatGPT came down with a really impressive story. She was reading it and thought, man, this is pretty accurate. And I think ChatGPT is cool. So I should have ended it right there, but I decided to take it up another notch. So I put into ChatGPT, tell me the importance Laura has made at her organization. And ChatGPT came back and said, Laura has made no significant impact at this business. So if you take one thing away from today's dialogue, it's the importance of having accurate prompts so you get the right answers for whoever you're trying to impress. And without further ado, Chris is going to dive into the utilization of ChatGPT for drip email campaigns.
All right. Thanks, Andrew. Great story. Good setup. So my name is Chris Dion, and I work with No Typical Moments. I'm going to specifically talk about how to use ChatGPT for the drip emails. I'm going to go super fast. If you have any questions, this is my email address. You will email me anytime, and I'll answer any questions that I can. First of all, setting the stage, I'm going to show you how we used ChatGPT to build a drip email campaign, specifically a 5-email drip campaign for a company called All Day Running. They wanted to promote a running event called Hell on a Hill, and you used to be able to find the information on this landing page. It's no longer there, but that's okay. And here is some more information. First of all, I used the paid version of OpenChatGPT. It's version 4. Supposedly, the information in the paid version is accessing a more recent database, meaning information in the internet up to 2021. Supposedly, it offers more advanced results, and you can save previous prompts and results. Here's the URL. Also, you could run the same thing that I'm running right now, and you may get different results than me. Actually, if I ran what I'm about to show you live, it may give me different results than what I ran before. So I am not going to run this live. I'm going to show you screenshots of what I ran. Okay. Setting it up. I typically define the task. I define the tone of voice, and then I review and optimize my email campaigns. So in chat, here is my first prompt. Everybody has a different way of prompting. I'm learning ways to be better at prompting every day. As a matter of fact, Chris Paluto is also on this call, and others at No Typical Moments. We share a Slack instance where we constantly share ideas on how to do this better. Here's the prompt I have. I'm looking for marketing copy to make my emails more engaging. I am promoting this. I provided the URL right here. And I also give a little background on what you can find on the page. It's a challenging half-day marathon that is the hilliest in the world. Recommend a sequence of 5 emails to promote this event along with recommended subject lines. Here's the results. Email number 1, announcement and invitation, subject line, ready to take the hilliest half marathon in the world. And then boom, it provides you content of what the email should include. Email number 2, build anticipation. Are you ready to conquer hell on a hill? More information. Then I fine tune it. Everybody has their way of fine tuning. What I typically do is I have a list of the top direct response copywriters in the world. One of them is Dan Kennedy. So then I simply ask Chat, could you please write all of these emails in the Dan Kennedy style of copywriting? Why do I do that? That is because if you do not ask chat to do this, you may get what's Steve Krug wrote a book called Don't Make Me Think. It's about user experience. He has something that's called marketing happy talk. That means marketing that's accurate, but just not really engaging, right? But if you write it in the Dan Kennedy style of copywriting, it automatically provides you with an email copy that is engaging and designed to get a response. So here's an example of what I got in response. Email number 1, are you brave enough to conquer the hilliest half marathon in the world? Do you notice how much better that subject line is than the first one, ready to take on the hilliest half marathon? This one is starting to get better. Are you brave enough to conquer the hilliest half marathon? And then here is the email. Are you ready for a challenge that pushes you to your limits? Then you won't want to miss Hell on a Hill Rome half marathon, the hilliest blah, blah, blah. This isn't your average run of the park. It's an endurance test that will separate the true runners from the pretenders. Notice how it also have after the signature PS, which is a typical Dan Kennedy style copywriting thing to do. PS, spaces are limited, so sign up now to secure your spot. Chat did all this by simply me asking it to write it in this specific style, right? I'm going to go ahead and skip. Oh, actually, what I can do, when I did this, it originally, chat did not write all 5 emails. It wrote me 4. So I asked it to please finish all 5. Then after that, I said, add some personalization to it. Personalization, as we know, can increase responses as much as 20 to 25%. So now it adds first name right in the subject line, and it's adding personalization. You can see here, it'll say, Chris, this isn't your average run in the park. It adds personalization to it, okay? Then you can review the results. I'm not gonna go through all of them. I wanna save some time for Chris to show us hers. Important, after you're done getting your results from chat, number 1, check for accuracy. GPT is typically known for not having accurate data, so make sure to check for that. And also what I call add a HI. Yes, you have artificial intelligence, but add your own human intelligence to add your own human touch, your own style to it afterwards. So I come up with a Google Doc, which, by the way, you can have chat automatically send through Zapier your results into a Google Doc. Then I take that Google Doc and I optimize it. Also, there are some additional prompts, right? Everybody right now that's been using chat knows to ask for it to have a certain tone, right? And have that tone match your guidelines or prompts. But I find that by asking it to write by a certain style of copywriting, a certain proven copywriter, one of the top 5 or top 10, it manages to tackle probably the top 4 things right here: tone, format, objective, and context. Okay. Yes, you can optimize it based off of keywords. You can give it certain limitations. If you ask it for a Dan Kennedy style, it'll automatically limit your paragraph count. It is great to tell it what kind of audience you're targeting, what kind of call to actions you have. Always ask it to add more personalization. And there are many, many more prompt ideas. I get my prompt ideas from something called copy.ai, which is they send out a daily prompt idea every day to your inbox. Okay, okay, so I needed to go through this quickly. Now I'm going to hand this over to Chris Paluda to talk about ads.
Hi guys, thanks Chris. So much like Chris, I'm using a lot of the ChatGPT to do the content for the ads, but then I'm adding another layer to it, which is the images for the ads. So Mid-Journey is what I use to do those images from the ads. And much like Chris, I'm not going to do it live just to get this, keep this moving and to go quickly. And the benefit of using the paid version of Mid-Journey is that you actually end up owning the content. If you did the free version, you wouldn't. So someone else could use that same image you're using. So if you want to use an image and have it be unique for your company, then I recommend using the paid version. So just like Chris talked about, first, when you're giving a prompt to ChatGPT, you want to give it the background and the vision. I really look at it like I'm talking to a partner in copywriting. I try not to treat it like AI. I try to treat it like a person that I'm brainstorming with, because I find that that really helps the way that I do the input, and it helps with results. And really, I want to start from the top and work my way down. So I start with the hook, and then I want to expand on those hooks once I have some hooks that I really like. And I keep refining and expanding, refining and expanding. So the first thing I did was I put in the, can you please help me come up with 5 hooks for a Facebook ad? So it's knowing exactly what I'm looking for. If you were doing an ad for something else, if you were doing a search ad, like a Google ad, you're going to get some different content back. And then instead of typing in all the background, because the landing page itself already has that background on it, I just pointed it to that background by pointing it to the landing page. And then you can see that it gave me back 5 different hooks. I read through those hooks and I liked the first 4. So then I went back to it and I asked it to give me a little more information, starting with the headlines for Facebook ads for the 4 that I liked. And if you keep doing this conversation back and forth, you'll find that you're training it to give you more of what you like. I've gone through and I've ended up with like 50 different prompts, and each one gets better and better because I'm teaching chat what I like, what I don't like. So it actually, like Chris said, I always use Dan Kennedy too, because I love the direct marketing tactics. Often I'm looking at things that engage and end up selling. So Dan Kennedy has a great direct marketing, active, powerful voice. And so you get back a lot of the things I'm looking for in most of my copy. So this one, same thing. I asked for it to adjust a particular version using Dan Kennedy's tactics, and I got back a headline: "Ready to conquer the hill and rule the world. Join us for the Hell on the Hill Rome Half Marathon." And then the body copy started to be exactly where I wanted it to go too. Ready to put your running skills to the test. You can see it's engaging and it's getting people to really want to do this. Then I wanted some options for headlines to go along with this copy. Oh, I think I meant one thing I did mention in there too was that I wanted it to be fun as well as Dan Kennedy's style. The reason I chose fun is because I looked at what's the sustainable competitive advantage of this particular running club over other running clubs, and they really tout that they're fun. So even if you're asking for a particular tone like Dan Kennedy, if there's another adjective that is very true to the core of the company you're looking at, you want to make sure that you include that as well. And then I got some other headline options. I think it's always good to have multiple, because reality is marketing is just learning, and doing A/B split testing for everything is the best way that you can learn faster and succeed faster. So always get another alternative to go along with that same body copy. So then we know that you see an almost 50% uptake whenever you add emojis. So I asked ChatGPT to provide some emojis instead of searching through them all for myself. And it, in 1 second gave me 5 great options to infuse along with my copy. The eye catches emojis so much faster than it does words. It's one of the reasons that people engage more with content with emojis. And then the next step I knew I wanted to do was to get images, because we didn't have any images yet of this particular race. So I was going to use Midjourney to populate the images. So I decided I would ask GPT to provide some prompts for Midjourney and save myself a step. So it gave me 3 prompts, and then I went ahead and I put them in to Midjourney. So if you don't have chat create prompts for you, you're going to type in the vision that you have. Usually I involve some emotion that I want to evoke from the people that are going to see the ad, because we know that stories sell, emotions sell. So it's a good way to get the image that you want. Also, you're going to want to set parameters like aspect ratio, realism. For instance, if you want it to look really real, you can say photorealistic. I have some more notes on that after. And then you always review and optimize whatever the images you get as well. So this was the first prompt I used, which was one provided by ChatGPT. I didn't add aspect ratio here because I want to show you what it does without any of those details. Let's go ahead and take a look. I think the image should be showing up. There we go. Okay, so what it gave me was some superhero-esque images, and I would, if I was just doing a static ad, I would probably go a different direction, but I knew I wanted to do a carousel, and I love especially the one on the lower left because it's got that bright sun there and it's going to draw attention. So that was one I wanted. And then I noticed that this always the initial ones, if you don't define an aspect ratio, always come out square. So then for the next rev, I wanted to make sure that I got some that were in the horizontal frame that I want. Let's go to that next slide. So you can see how these come out with the aspect ratio I'm looking for, which is 7:5. You always do the width and then the height. And if you look at the very end of that prompt, you'll see the --AR 7:5, and that's how you get Midjourney to give you the aspect ratio that you're looking for. So I did 2 more prompts. I found images that I liked. You can select, they always give you 4. You pick the one you like, and then it gives you that in higher detail. So I picked the ones I liked. Here are some more parameters. Like I said, the aspect ratio, if let's say it was an all male run, so you could say no women, and then the images that you showed you would just be men. If you were looking for something in a particular artist style, or if you wanted it to be an overhead shot, monochromatic, really realistic, or have a wide angle, here's some prompts you can use for things like that. There's a lot of prompts and they help. So here's what it all looks like. We had the ad copy from ChatGPT, we had the images from Midjourney, and now these are ads that you could put live. It's got everything we need to take it to the next step. And then if you were using this in Facebook, if you go one more, you could go one more slide, Chris. You could go back to ChatGPT and research targeting. So if you didn't know your target market and you wanted to see if ChatGPT had some information about that, you could ask for historical information about half marathons and any information that could help you with your targeting.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for that, Chris. And I'm going to put this link in here right now. So for those of you who want to see if you qualify for our AI pilot program, it's a little type form application. It should take you less than 5 minutes. We would love to learn a little bit more about your current marketing challenges, how you think AI could be utilized. And from there, Chris and I will be having conversations and coming up with really custom AI programs for whoever thinks it would be a good fit for your organization. But I don't want to just sit here for the next 10 minutes and hard sell anyone on joining this program with us. We really want this to be interactive and open it up to a Q&A session. And I already saw a question that came in regarding the recording. So we're going to be sending the recording and the slides out afterwards to this. So for whoever has questions, would love for you to put them in the chat window, and I'll let the 2 Chris's go ahead and answer all these questions we have coming in.
Yeah, and I got a question about, are there any other, there was one question here about how to access Midjourney. Here, Chris, did you want to talk about that? Where do you get access to Midjourney?
Yes, so that is through Discord. And I'll put a link in too. So you need a Discord account, and then you can access it directly through Discord. And it's free for the first 50 images you can play with.
I just put the links in the chat for everyone from Discord, OpenAI, and Midjourney.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew.
Great. And then another question is about, are there any other AI tools that we should be considering other than Chat and Midjourney?
So many. So we're constantly keeping a list of that, and we'll share a list because there are so many amazing tools. There's ones now for video. There's ones that you can put your hour-long video into, and it'll turn it into different clips. There are so many phenomenal ones, and they change all the time. So we keep that pretty updated and share it among ourselves, and we'll share that with you as well.
Yeah, and one other thing to consider is that a lot of the CRM, email, design, all the systems, marketing systems in the world, Google ads, Facebook ads, everything now has AI built into it, right? So MailChimp has AI built into it. HubSpot has AI built into it, right? Canva has AI built into it. So one of the things that I think, we at No Typical Moments are experimenting is not only do we use AI, that is now a de facto standard, but do we use the ones that are provided to us by the tools that we're using, or is there another one that does something better? For example, OpenAI has something called DALL-E, which generates images, right? It's the exact same company that produces ChatGPT, but their image generator doesn't seem to be as good as Midjourney. Midjourney's image generator, what you just looked at, what Chris just presented, appears to be much higher quality than DALL-E. So oftentimes it's not just, what tools are there, but, which ones are we using, which one's giving better results. And whatever seems to be working today may not be the ones that are best tomorrow, next week, the month after. So that's our job. That's one of the things that we do, Chris, myself, and a team of people over at No Typical Moments. We're constantly using these in our daily lives to try to figure out which ones are best. Okay. Another question here. Anybody else? Is marketing or are marketing teams going to become obsolete? Anybody?
I can answer that with you, Chris. I think the answer is no. Just like anything else, there's always a human element that's needed to make sure that the output that's happening is a really valuable and appropriate output. So there's, even the things that we saw, you still want to infuse the emojis into the content. You want to go through it. You want to give it that personal touch. You want to make sure that the tone and the direction match the brand. There's so many elements of it that even though you're going to get great and close and save a ton of time with AI, there's still nothing like having that human touch, make sure that all the pieces have come together appropriately.
Good one. Tommy here also asked a question that I have been asked now once a week. Should I be careful about adding any copywritten trademarked content into AI to prevent the idea's solution from being added to their brain? So I've been doing a little bit of investigating into this because we at No Typical Moments actually work a lot with a lot of companies that provide course information. So individuals are a little bit concerned that their course information is getting leaked to AI, and now automated courses are going to be generated, right? Here's the way that I understand it. AI is still pulling the information that's publicly available on the web. So as long as it's been on there since prior to 2021, it's in their brain. It already has it, right? Then the next question is, can you password protect it or put it behind a firewall? Then AI cannot get to it. And I know many are now protecting their content that way. If it's already on the web, it already has it. This is Tommy, I really love your question because it is the one concern I really do have. However, there's nothing I can do to stop it unless I put my content behind a password protected or gate the content in some way, shape, or form. Ken asked the question, how might AI fit into the promotion of my new book late this summer? We have specifically used AI to launch a few books recently. I have just done the prompt, by the way, one of the prompts you can use for the new book is how many emails, you can ask AI, how many emails should I do to pre-launch my book? What are the subject matter subjects for each of those drip email campaigns that I should do? You can ask AI all of that. Now, what we did is we asked, and AI generated 12 different emails that we needed to do to pre-launch a book. So when doing that, we noticed that was too many emails. So what we're finding that on marketing is doing is we take a look at what's recommended and then we optimize it using our personal experience marketing books. So it's going to make a lot of recommendations, but you may want to fine tune those recommendations before implementing. Let me just put it that way. Love to know, Ken, what your new book is.
I was going to jump in too, Chris, depending if it's a business to business book or a, or a wide range one. If it's a business to business, one of the applications I really like of the AI is if you have a bunch of LinkedIn profiles of people you want to have adopt your book right away, that you can put those into AI and it will create custom intros depending on what stuff they already have in their LinkedIn profile. There's so many cool ways that you can creatively use AI to get you like a little more detailed intro to something as well.
And Bodhi, you asked the question using GPT-4, how many iterations do you ask for, and how much do you find you're using it as a presented versus digging in and customizing it? Do you want to answer that first, Chris, or do you want me to?
You go first.
Okay, my answer is a cheat answer. It depends. So there are sometimes that I get a result and I'm like, oh my God, how did it know? This is amazing. And it's just a few iterations. What sometimes I do though, is I put it aside, results, and come back to it the next day and say, okay, is it really, number one, answering the question that the customer has, not the question do I have, but the customer has. And is it really having the right benefits and motivators and calls to action be able to get to what I want? And so I end up doing more iterations just to get to those three things. Again, if you ask it to do a specific style of copywriting that is done by a direct response copywriter, you'll probably get to your response faster. Chris, how about for imagery?
Yeah, no, one thing I was just thinking about that is I often notice that the issue will be something will sound good, but it'll lack some depth. So the first thing I always want to do is check that the depth is there. So, but like you said, sometimes the depth will be there and it's fantastic. And then if the depth's not there, I reprompt with some prompts around depth.
Yeah, good. And thanks, Ken. Looking forward to taking a look at your book. Yeah, chat can help. So oftentimes, here's the way I look at chat. Chat enables you to move faster on things. And by moving faster, you can save money, which is great. But don't necessarily think that it's all of a sudden going to be better than your human brain. It's going to hopefully help get your brain moving quicker and get to your launch faster, which is great. Also on the area of content, sometimes what you'll find is that you're now writing more content faster, right? And that's how we're using it as well.
And don't forget about the split testing, because I think that's one thing that happens when someone's in a smaller company and they end up not doing the testing because they don't have all the ideas or they don't have time to iterate, but they can use this to make sure that they're constantly testing and learning and testing and learning. And that's how you get to success faster.
Good point.
So we're going to wrap up. Like I mentioned before, we're going to send the recording out to everyone. You're going to have the slides as well. And if you're open and interested to learning more about our pilot program, we'd love to be in touch with you. And like Chris said as well earlier, any other questions that stem from this, please send us an email and we're more than happy to answer your questions. So thank you all for attending. Appreciate your time. We hope you have a great rest of your Thursday.